Hi, so I've got here 4 things. One's follow-up and 3 interesting things. That's 4 things and a PS. Let's start with the follow-up. Magazines. I'm so glad they're not selling magazines at the university bookshop anymore, because I'm just such a sucker for a nice cover. Who can resist that? I buy Flow when I see it. I don't know how often it comes out. It seems like not often enough, thank goodness, especially for the price. But as I can feel from the thickness of this one, I've already pulled all the beautiful paper out, and that's actually what I buy it for, the beautiful paper, because it is my mission in the world to own every piece of beautiful paper in the world. But then when you have pages like this, like how to draw jam jars, why wouldn't you buy? Why wouldn't I buy Flow? So I buy Flow. I'm quite often buy, in fact I was subscribing to this but it must have lapsed because it stopped coming and I might start it again. New Scientist. I do read this. I like this because it's very thin and fold up and go into my bag or whatever, very easy to take when I'm doing public transport, which I really like the ferry and stuff like that. I accidentally subscribed to The Atlantic. That's a story for another day, but that's got some quite good reads in it if you like American politics and stuff like that. Usually has good essays and it's awesome. I picked up Breathe, which I think comes from the same stable as Frankie and the rest of that lot. Did Dumbo Feather come from Frankie's stable as well? I don't know. I like the idea of this. It had things like creative calligraphy and terrariums and kind of stuff like that. So this was the second. The first edition was good too. I've got the third one and it's starting to feel a bit like hippies and dream catchers and stuff, so I might ditch that. I don't know, we'll see. But it has really pretty paper in it too. Look, damn them in their pretty paper. The best magazine I get was a gift. It was a gift from Simon and Melissa, who bought it for me, a subscription to Jamie magazine. And that's useful, beautiful, and one I'd recommend. Pick up any day. It's got great writing, the occasional article, but mostly jam-packed full of really beautifully tasting but easy to do recipes. Magazines, done. Thanks for introducing me, I should say. Is it thanks for introducing me to? I have to look at the screen because I cannot remember this acronym. The ASMR, the Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. I had never heard of it. I probably would never have heard of it. It's not kind of the swings and roundabouts in the playground that I play in. But interestingly enough, Val at work also mentioned that this week as well, and I can say, oh well, that Fox actually told me about that. We were talking about how his girlfriend likes watching them because she actually very easily gets that tingling response. But when I watched the video, I didn't really understand what I was watching at the link that you put on your last video, and I was just going, hurry up and make the bed, why are you mucking around, like scratching it and touching it? And I might actually give it a go with proper headphones and that sort of thing, but at the time I didn't know what the flip was going on. But man, internet's awesome, isn't it? As far as reading is going at the moment, when you mentioned that money book in your blog, I actually downloaded it to my Kindle, so it's sitting there. It probably will sit there until the day the archaeologists dig it up and say, what is this? Is another one of these funny flat electronic things that they used to have way back in the 21st century. At the moment I am reading, well actually listening to, I'm not reading, I have a lot of trouble reading. I'm a headlines and first sentence kind of gal, but that's called Radical Candor, How to Be a Kick-Ass Boss Without Losing Your Humanity, or something like that, by Kim Scott. It's not what I thought it would be. She, the author, reads it, and she worked for Sheryl Sandberg and worked at Google as well, so I wasn't expecting it to have that Silicon Valley kind of spin on it. I thought it was going to be another self-help book, so it's very interesting to listen to, and her anecdotes and stories about handling her team and her team members well and not so well. I find very interesting. I need to get my shit together in this area. I need to grow up in some aspects of communication and confrontation, and so I thought I'd read that book and see if it helped at all, and whether it led me down to another couple of books, I don't know. I've got Netflix. I never watch it. I don't pay for it. I don't pay for it. Just because it's my son's login. He logged in when he lived here, and he didn't, take it away when he... And occasionally I look on there, but I just don't use it. I don't know. I don't know. But when I go on there, and people tell me to go on there, there's lots of really interesting stuff. And this abstract show was interesting. When it started, I was like, oh, if this was on the planner, I'd fast forward through it. But anyway, I watched it. And as I watched it, there's a couple of things I really liked about it. The style of it, the aesthetics of it. Really enjoyed him a lot. But as I got to know him, Christoph, through the show, and the way that he really didn't want the film crew to be filming him in his home. He said something about, well, I don't think having a shot of me brushing my teeth is going to add any value. But then when they finally talked him into letting the camera in his home was as precise as his studio. It was kind of minimal and excruciatingly tidy, and just really strangely quiet and absent of any humanness. There were flowers there, but they still look computer generated. But I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really put together well, and I look forward to watching a few more. I actually had to commit to Game of Thrones for the last few days, so I wasn't able to watch anymore. I was so far behind in Game of Thrones, so I smashed out 6 episodes in the last 24 hours, so I'm a bit like, Jon Snow at the moment, but I'm caught up, so that's really good. So that was my follow-up. Second interesting thing, I don't play games on computers very much at all. I think solitaire was about all I ever managed, and combination of age and inability to concentrate and very poor hand-eye coordination. The one game I did play was Monument Valley. It was beautiful. The soundscape was just amazing, really tranquil and meditative, and wasn't a very difficult game to play, but it was absolutely gorgeous. And I just sort of played that a few stages at night before I went to sleep, and was quite kind of calming, Interesting to see games that aren't point and shoot, games that are more contemplative and just gorgeous. But the kids it doesn't appeal to my grandchildren at all. They're like, whatever, they don't even care about Ida, the main character, and how she's going to get anywhere, because it's just, I guess it's too slow. So maybe the market is more like we middle-aged women, not sure. Second interesting thing is that this week I produced some content at work. That's interesting because I don't usually, even though my job title is content producer, I don't actually produce any content or very much content. I do a lot of coordinating, a lot of support and that sort of thing, but it was really nice to create some content. And it was heaps of fun, and I was able to do it, and I realised just how much I enjoy doing that sort of thing. And, on the spectrum of Photoshop compositors, I am smack in the middle. I'm not down the terrible end, but I'm not at the good end either, but I can knock something out. So, I really enjoyed that. It was really very interesting to be reminded of things like that, things that we enjoy at work that maybe we don't do very often. And the fourth thing, speaking of reminding, is I'm off to the pub this afternoon to have a drink with a work colleague celebrating his birthday. And why that's interesting, you may ask, because it's sort of something we used to do all the time in Melbourne, you before you had children, me before I moved away, is that I don't do that very much anymore. I just don't have the infrastructure, but I think it's not just me, it's Auckland as well. That's just, I live too far away from the inner city. It's not kind of not how we do things here, and I don't have the number of friends or the type of friends here that I used to have in Melbourne. So it's very interesting to suddenly realise I'm going to the pub at 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, because that's what today is, and I'm going to have drinks with some friends, which I haven't really had up till now. That sounds so lame, but it's true. And my PS, Do you listen to white noise? I was thinking as I was thinking about this before I started the video, and I'm like, of course she doesn't listen to white noise. She's got toddlers. Silence is the noise she listens to when they're asleep. Or maybe, you know, that music that you like. I don't know. I don't have noise cancelling headphones at work, and it never really occurred to me to get noise cancelling headphones. Not that it's that noisy, but I put my headphones on at work to block out certain people who irritate me, through no fault of their own, or a little bit of their own fault, but through no fault of their own. It's just that I just pick up certain, I guess it's voice frequencies or levels or something, you know. So anyway, some voices travel through the office, and so when I need to concentrate on something and those people happen to be maybe talking, so I put my headphones on. That was a really long, dumb explanation for why I would wear headphones. Everybody understands why a person would wear headphones, you name that. Anyway, white noise. So for the longest time I've been listening to cat purring. So I've got an app on my phone with white noise. It has a whole list of different soundscapes that I can listen to, and the one that I locked into was a cat purring. And I'd put that on and I'd work. And I've been using that for, honestly, a couple of years. It's been really good. And recently I've changed to rain pouring, gentle rain. And it's got to the point where I'm so it gets me right in the zone. And I can really concentrate, very quickly, straight focused, and I can get stuff done. And then I'll get pulled out of that because either I've finished doing what I'm doing, but mostly I'm interrupted by someone who'll come and tap me on the shoulder because they need to talk to me, and that's okay. But when I get pulled out of that, especially with the rain, I'm really surprised to see the sun streaming through the windows and the blue sky outside, you know. I'm really, my brain has been completely fooled into what the weather is and what my environment is. It's really interesting. I'll see you later in the week. See ya.